In this video, we'll be taking a look at the Snowtrooper Commander for the Black Series 3 and 3/4 inch line, and he's figure number 24 in the black and orange packaging. This is at least the last super articulated, newly tooled Snowtrooper sculpt that we've gotten. But despite that, this is a kind of a unique storm or Snowtrooper. It's not really one that you can reutilize as an army builder. The Snowtrooper Commander is slightly different from the regular Snowtrooper. I'll just bring the prime example out here. This is I got this in the Saga Legends line in 2009 during the Legacy Collection, but he did have a whole lot of releases between the VOTC line, I think, and or the Vintage Saga Collection, and then I think he was repacked in so many of the waves of the Saga Legends after that, and then he did get his own individual number in the Legacy Collection as well. But as you can see, huge difference between the two sculpts. This guy's a little bit more skinnier, a little bit smaller, I would say. Some people argue that he's probably, the Commander here is much more in scale compared to the regular Snowtrooper here. Personally, I'm a big fan of this sculpt, but this one's pretty good as well. I actually didn't get him until 2020 though. I got him through Tungori and a lot that I got at the time, and he was only like $10 brand new. And as far as I could tell, there's really nothing defective about him at all. He has a little bit of yellow on that joint there, as you can see, but that's okay. That's going to happen regardless. So the Snowtrooper Commander actually does show up in Empire Strikes Back, and if you recall, the one scene where General Veers here turns around and tells the Snowtrooper and the AT-AT there that all troops need to deploy for ground assault, and then he turns around and walks away here. That's the exact Snowtrooper Commander. Some of them, you can probably already spot some differences. He has the rank badge here, and then he does not have the backpack here. Something a little bit different. I think he was an action figure that was supposed to be in the TVC line, and of course it was just carried forward into the Black Series. It's during that time when we were still getting carryovers from the TVC line. Would be nice if he could make his way in TVC at some point, even as is. I don't think he really needs any updating at all. For the Commander, that is. Of course, a lot of people want a new Snowtrooper sculpt, but I think they would rather have an army builder instead of the Commander here. Plus, I'm glad that the Commander is a little bit different and unique in his appearance. For me personally, when I have army builders in my collection, I like to have all the regular troopers about the same, or look about the same, and then if I have like a leader or a commander or a sergeant or whatever, I like to have them somewhat distinguished from the rest, and this is a good way to make that happen. I do have quite a few Snowtroopers in my collection, and this is the only Commander I have, so he's definitely the Commander, and he's distinguished from the rest. But anyways, let's just take a closer look at him. So as you can see, he's a little bit skinnier compared to the regular Trooper. I think that helmet sculpt looks really good. Proportions on it are very nice. And he's mostly all white with a little bit of silver here and there, with some red paint or some blue paint on his rank badge, and then his buttons here. This black paint for the eyes there. I never really noticed this before, but it looks like he's got some scrapes on his armor there. I'm not sure if that's my particular sample or if that's supposed to be there. Either way, I think that is kind of a nice touch, actually. Shows that he's been in combat. Shoulder armor here. Gloves there. I assume That's probably like the communicator. And he has his armor here, which is pretty much the same exact armor as the Imperial officers wear, as you can see. So that's pretty nice. So it makes you wonder exactly who is this Snowtrooper commander. So for his comma here, he does have plastic, which in most cases plastic is usually not a good idea. It's not too bad for this action figure. I suppose if I had to pick between soft goods or plastic, I would rather have soft goods. I think for the regular trooper here, it worked out just fine, and the cut of it, the way it flows looks good. But it's not too bad on this. And this guy, you're not probably going to have in a whole lot of dynamic poses anyway. If you have an AT-AT, this is a perfect Snowtrooper to have in that, and of course he's going to just stand in the background. And even if you have him on like a Hoth display or a battlefield or something like that, he's probably going to be more towards the back commanding the battle. So back here, where the backpack usually goes, in this case it looks like we have some buttons of some sorts. A little bit of goldish yellow paint there too. Does have a thermal detonator on his belt, which, yeah, this regular Snowtrooper has that too. Now, he doesn't really have a whole lot of weathering on him, which in this case it does make sense since he's inside the AT-AT. And as far as him standing, I think he stands alright on his own without the help of a stand. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. The hole there is towards the front of his foot. But despite that, you can pretty much get him standing completely flush with the stand. In terms of his articulation, I think he technically has a ball joint in the head, but obviously you're not going to get range or a whole lot of range of motion out of that because of the shape of his helmet here and his face covering. You can get him side to side. You can have him look up just a little bit. It's not bad. He does have hinge at the shoulders, which go about 90 degrees, and hinged elbows, which don't go quite to 90, but it's alright. Swivel gauntlets there, basically. And joint at the torso, and swivel hips, and hinge knees, yep, and then hinge ankles. In terms of weapons and accessories, he does have some unique accessories, I guess. You can actually fit this E11 completely in his hand. This is the E11 that comes with the Sand Troopers in the TVC line usually. And I think a few of the Stormtroopers are packed with this as well. I'm not really a fan of this E11 at all. As you can see, it's very bulky. Most of the Stormtroopers can never hold it in their hand. This is probably one of the few that I have that actually can put his finger around the trigger there. But Hasbro was going for something new, and they had it where you can fold the stock all the way back, as you can see, which is a nice idea, but the execution of it's not very good. I'd rather have the old E11 that this guy has. It's much more slimmer and easier to hold, and it looks fine as is. And of course, if you have a holster, there's no way you're going to be able to get this one in the holster. That one you can. You can take the stock off if you wanted to. So I suppose if you want to get that out of the way, you could have the E11 just like that, and it really doesn't look bad at all. Then he also has a holster on the side here with basically the same pistol that Han Solo comes with. But this one's all in black. And he holds it well in his hand there. Looks really good. So ready for battle. See, he is a little bit shorter. Veers here was played by Julian Glover, from my understanding, is a little bit of a taller guy, so that makes sense. But this Snowtrooper here is close to the same height. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about the Snowtrooper Commander here. So would I recommend him for your collection? I totally would, and he's not too hard to come by either. He's a little bit above retail price last I checked. You might find him in like the $20 or $30 range, which I still think is totally worth it for this guy. You always need a commander for your Snowtroopers if you have a collection of them, so it makes sense to have this guy. He is unique from the rest of them, and to this day, I think this is the only Snowtrooper that we've gotten in that particular tooling. Like I said, if Hasbro does do a standard Snowtrooper, they'll probably have to do an entirely new sculpt. So we might not ever see this particular tooling ever again. But still, I think he deserves his place in the vintage collection at some point. I hope they get around to it. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Snowtroopers. I would love to get an AT-AT at some point so I can put these guys in it. And it's always been pretty high on my list, so hopefully at some point I can get around to it. The prices are really not that bad for a brand new AT-AT. At least for the Saga Collection one and a few of the other models out there. I know the one that people usually want to go for is like the Shadow of the Dark Side AT-AT, and that one's far more expensive. So hopefully soon, I'll be sure to feature these guys again. And of course, General Veers is featured on the channel, and the Snowtrooper here will do at some other point. It's a solid action figure overall. I'm happy to have him in the collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.